Hello, my name is Taylor Dinkins. I'm a part of Group 3, and we will be discussing the Czech Republic. Okay, let's get started. Um, I will be discussing a brief history of the Czech Republic, its political infrastructure, and how the Hofstede's dimensions, individualism versus collectivism, and time orientation relate to the country. Okay, to get a full understanding of the political structure of the Czech Republic, we have to first look at the history of their government. After World War I, the country of Czechoslovakia was formed from the Czech and Slovak countries that were a part of the Austrian Empire. Later on, at the start of World War II, Czechoslovakia became a part of Germany. After World War II, the country went under the control of the Soviet Union and the Communist Party. And then once the Soviet Union finally collapsed in 1990, Czechoslovakia's freedom was finally restored. A couple years later, the Czechs and the Slovaks, they peacefully split back into two independent countries, thus the Czech Republic was formed. Since their newly restored independence, they have made several moves towards being a more internationally involved country. In March of 1999, the Czech Republic joined NATO. A few years later, in 2004, the Czech Republic became a member of the European Union. So their government's control underwent many changes throughout the years, including the addition of an executive, legislative, and judiciary branch in their government, which is similar to the United States democracy as well. The Czech Republic has an individualist society with a score of 58 in the Hofstede's dimensions. In collectivist societies, people belong to groups that take care of them in exchange for your loyalty. That's not what's happening in the Czech Republic for the most part. And according to what we've learned in class, the individual societies, the employer/employee relationship is kind of like it's contract based, basically you can have a mutual advantage from one another. That's the key component in that. So you're more likely to see people valuing your merit or how much of an asset you actually are to the company rather than your likability in the Czech Republic. If you're seen as an asset to the company, then you're probably more likely to see promotion rather than the person who would bring cupcakes on people's birthdays, if that makes sense. You can see in the graph presented that the United States has a much higher individualist score, sitting at 91. That score, according to my research, is relatively extreme. It was definitely the highest score that I found on the scale. Although we share political structures of democracy, our individualist levels are a bit more extreme, but compared to Austria and Germany, the Czech Republic's individualist score is fairly mild. We can conclude that the Czech Republic is definitely more individual focused than group focused society. Time orientation. Okay, well, first let's discuss what the difference between monochronic versus polychronic is. When it comes to monochronic structures, it's the structure is actually welcomed. So set agendas, start and end times of meetings, respected deadlines, and limited speaking interruptions during meetings are completely favorable. On the other side of that, polychronic, rigid agendas are seen as things that can block creativity. Deadlines serve more as suggestive guidelines, and open discussion is welcome during meetings. You can see how this does not fit the individualistic style that is in the culture for the Czech Republic. So the monochronic style is definitely something that they are more inclined to lean towards. And that concludes my portion of the project. I'm going to pass it on over to my counterparts.